Here's the tea. Greetings. I don't really know how to start this. I guess all I can say is we're back. If you've been an avid follower of this channel, an avid watcher, one, I appreciate you, and two, you may remember our video from last December when we were making gingerbread house. It was also a Q&A, and we decided to come back for round two because Jessie and I don't see each other super often anymore, and these will be our little check-ins throughout
for time capsule.
If you haven't seen our last Q&A, these don't really go together, but you might want to watch that one first because that one has a lot more of our...
I think it's interesting to compare that one into where we are now.
Yeah, that one covers a lot of like our backstory. Mostly like my sobriety is like what that one covers and how our relationship is harmed because of that and how it's gotten better. There's a few questions people asked about that this time around.
Do you want me to get LaCroix? I don't want.
Okay. But there's a few questions this time around that have to do with sobriety, a couple questions that just have to do with our relationship, and then we'll just chat out the rest of it. So I think we're going to start with a life update, just to catch you up to speed on what has happened in the past year. Do you want to give a life update on each other instead of ourselves?
Sure.
Okay. So the last time that we filmed this, Jessie was a senior at Boulder. She was she was a business major. She was finding her way in the college scene, had her friends, but would you say you still felt like you had to close a piece of you off to the world?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's been on this growth journey ever since she came out in high school, and I feel like every year you just blossom a bit more.
I become Gare.
And also I feel like every year
my confidence
grows, but also your appearance changes. Like this year you did the cut, but now Jessie lives in Brooklyn, New York. She is flourishing. She feels as though she can really be her true authentic self here. She's made a lot of good friends. She goes out to bars and restaurants and museums, and she does art. Anything else that I forgot?
No.
Good.
Okay.
What about me?
Stephanie, you graduated from Cal Poly with also a business major, and since then you have become a total boss babe, and you work for a financial app now. Fintech, yes, burgeoning industry. And you lived at home with her parents for a few months to save up money. That's probably something I should have done, but I didn't. You just moved to the Bay. You're first to step out of the nest. Let's see if you can fly. And I can tell that you've grown a lot in your confidence, but as well as your insecurities, I guess, your struggles.
They've grown?
Your disorders. No. You've learned how to deal with them in a productive way. That works for you. And I'm proud of you.
I'm proud of you.
Thanks.
So I barely looked at these questions. Usually before Q&As, like the couple that I've done, I write down my responses to the questions so that I can be prepared, but I barely looked at these, so we're gonna wing it. What's the most twin thing you've ever done? I feel like me and Jessie are as different as you can get when it comes to twins, but sometimes I catch myself like doing something and I'm like, oh my god, Jessie would do that. Or I'll look at my hands, especially, and I've just noticed we have the same hands.
Oh, I was gonna say we have different hands.
But just like our hand mannerisms.
That's what you would say. That's what you would say? I think we have the same sense of humor. I think our sense of humor is very specific to ourselves. Other people don't get it, and that's fine because we have each other to get it.
Yeah.
I often find myself giggling about something that you do. No, I say the trajectory of our lives has gone opposite directions.
Yeah, we were once this way, just two coconut bowl cut kids, and then around like middle school is when it started splitting up.
So, and now I still have a coconut bowl cut.
You've come back. You've come full circle.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you have to significantly reduce your drinking around me? And we kind of covered this on the last video, but I kind of want you to give an update on your drinking, because you've been saying that you haven't been drinking that much anymore. And like, what changed? How do you feel?
Well, I think a lot of it was when I got out of college, because in college it's just very normalized to drink heavily. And so I've realized now that I'm on my own, I don't really need to drink crazy every weekend, because I just got so sick of like being hungover.
Yeah.
It's a horrible feeling, and it's probably getting older has more of an impact on your body.
And I feel like being hungover is fine, or
being hungover is fine when all of your roommates or all of your friends are also in the same boat.
When it's like,
and now it's like I'm just hungover alone. And I just like feel like shit. Like, go get a bagel alone.
Yeah.
It's like,
it's not like you're surrounded by.
Yeah. Yeah.
So mainly the hangovers was what? You know, and the culture.
But
like the
also, yeah.
But even living in a city like New York, I feel like.
When I first moved here, I drank a lot. I was going through shit though, so I was going through a lot of insecure feelings of lack of belonging, feelings of just very insecure, lots of insecurity.
Didn't you say it took a while to get used to just New York in general? I feel like any new place that you move to, but especially New York, I think would really.
Yeah, I definitely like had a few breakdowns of just like thinking I don't belong here. Or like, but anyways, it's kind of an unspoken thing that we just won't drink. But now I enjoy hanging out with you. I don't feel the need to like have a beer at night or have wine. You've really put me on LaCroix. Love it. I think big part of the drinking a lot is like programming. Mm-hmm. Of just having something to sip on, something carbonated. But now, since I drink so much like carbonated juices or carbonated water, it's just as satisfying.
Yeah. As for like what boundaries have you had to place in your relationship since being sober, I feel like we covered all of that in the last video, so I don't really want to get into that. What do you appreciate most about each other? I feel like we kind of did this in the last video.
I think you inspire me so much in your work ethic. I think you're definitely the hardest working person I know. But also, at the same time, kind of to a fault, because you're kind of a workaholic.
Yeah.
And you put a lot of pressure on yourself.
And the exact same answer.
Watching you work is so intense. Watching you work in your mode is so intense. It's almost scary.
Why? What do I do?
You just look so stressed. You like stress yourself out. I think you like, I was watching you for 5 minutes today. You just looked like you were gonna cry the whole time.
Yeah, I do need to learn how to handle my stress better, but I think it like comes out more than what I actually feel.
Yeah. What about me?
I appreciate your just willingness to just do you. You don't care about what other people think. You never have.
I think I do.
Yeah, but like, you find it easy to let go of the things that don't matter. Like, relationships, when someone does something that you don't like to you, to me, to whoever, you are just fine with kind of letting it go. And you've always been that way. You haven't really gotten caught up in any drama, especially like in high school when everyone was so focused on each other.
Well, here's why that is.
Okay, explain.
I've been hurt so much in my life that it got to the point where
I didn't mean to laugh, sorry.
It was more like a trauma response. It
just like shutting down?
Yeah, I've faced so much rejection and like disrespect in my life that like, it's not a trauma response, but it's more just like, I expect it almost from my relationships.
So when people let you down, it's just like, okay, that's just another person.
Yeah, and then I'll just move on.
Got it.
But I also think my confidence has grown to the sense where I know my worth and I know that I am special.
Makes me laugh.
And so if someone can't see that, then that's fine. Also, it's literally fine. Like, we're just human beings.
Yeah.
Not everyone has to like you.
what was our question was, what do we appreciate most of each other? But I appreciate how you are just totally you, and you're not afraid to just do what you want. Like, you wanted to move to New York and you just did it. You didn't care what ties you had elsewhere. You didn't care what people thought. You just wanted to do it. So you don't weigh in on what other people think. You don't get other people's opinions to make your decision. Whereas I'm someone who, like, weighs it out. Oh, so this question I kind of understand now after reading it a couple times. So for those of you who don't know, Jessie, I would say, has a pretty healthy relationship with food and exercise. You kind of eat what you want, exercise in a way that feels good, and you're pretty confident about your body. Would you say?
Yeah.
And I feel like, obviously, if you've been watching my channel for a while, I've struggled with body image issues and an eating disorder, and so this question is asking, was there anything in our life that you think made you not end up with the eating disorder and me end up with it? And I think...
I'm surprised I didn't get an eating disorder, honestly.
Why?
I just remember I was, like, the chubbier one. She'd always make comments about my weight. But I don't know. It never, like, stuck with me.
When you eat something, you don't immediately think, like, how is this going to affect my body? Like, what do you know?
Sorry.
See? She laughs because that's, like, such an obscure...
No, I'm not laughing at the obscurity of it. I'm laughing because
that's not
it's almost to a fault.
That you do.
It's almost like,
don't
put this in my mouth.
See, I'm the exact opposite way. Like, every single thing that I consume, it's gotten a lot better. But
It's definitely gotten a lot better.
And, like, I used to really disturb our family vacations because we couldn't eat at certain places. And this trip, would you say I've been very flexible?
Yeah. We haven't been eating at places that I know you would hate.
Like, challenge. Yeah, I guess. Like, all of them I've been able to find something. But even the stuff that we've been eating, like bagels, pizza, or things that I wouldn't usually have, cheese, I wouldn't allow myself. So I think
This is a carb city.
I think I've practiced that, and I really think that helped me get a lot out of this trip. So I was going to ask you, like, what tips can you have for someone who's struggling, but...
Oh my god.
I guess
Don't put that on me. I don't know.
I just want to make this more helpful for them. I feel like we're just talking about ourselves. I think my eating disorder stemmed from my perfectionistic nature.
I think it stemmed from the addictive gene that you got. You have an addictive personality. And I think since the factor of drinking was taken out, I think you can see, like, the excess. You can see the little, like, off spurts of like, that energy going into different areas of your life. Like, your work ethic is almost, you're addicted to stress. You can be addicted to stress.
I wouldn't say I'm addicted to stress,
you're
but
addicted to work. You're addicted to... These are all acutely addicted. Like, not that you have an addiction, but, like, in a way that you're almost obsessive.
I'm definitely addicted to,
your
like,
work, about your blog,
productivity.
Productivity, yes.
It's like my main... Like, if I'm not productive during a day, or what I deem as productive, I feel like the day is just wasted. But I feel like everyone thinks that a little bit, but mine is like my level of productivity versus... Do I have a Switch thing? My level of productivity versus, like, other people's. I just hold myself to too high of a standard. Whereas many...
Unrealistic.
Yes. So I'm trying to work on that. That's my next battle that I'm facing. I'm trying to take it one day at a time, one thing at a time. Do you think consistent blackouts and anxiety the days after drinking are a reason to go sober? Because I don't crave alcohol every day. I crave parties to get drunk, if you know what I mean.
At least for me, because I go out more than you. But I think it's kind of a double-edged sword, because when you go out and you choose to be sober, it's really annoying to talk to drunk people.
That's why I don't
which is
really
why,
care.
like, you drink so that you can also be on other people's level.
Yeah, I like...
Yeah, and then, like, when you say you're not drinking, I've noticed, even when I'm not, like, not that I've actually ever done this, but, like, I've noticed when a friend of mine has said, oh, I'm not drinking tonight, people are like, why? And they're like, why? Like, do you have a problem? And it's like, I can't even believe people feel comfortable asking that.
I mean,
and
it's
in front
just
of a
not
group
like...
of people, it's just like such a personal question. And they're
agreed.
that happened kind of recently, and I was like, oh, how do you feel comfortable asking that?
I also think to your question, or to this person's question, I never necessarily craved alcohol either. Like, I did not crave wine or beer or vodka. Like, I didn't even like the taste. I drank it to get drunk, which is what you said in your question. So obviously I'm not a professional, and I'm not trying to tell you what you should and shouldn't do, but I'm just saying in my experience. I mean, I used to say, like, if there was a pill that could make me drunk, I would take it. Like, it wasn't the alcohol itself, it was the feeling of being drunk. So I think you just have to get to the root cause of, like, why do you want to feel drunk? What are you trying to escape from? Because when you get drunk, you're numbing everything out in your...
Well, I think a lot of it is social anxiety, too.
Well, definitely, yeah.
Like,
yeah.
just to kind of break the ice.
Yeah, so, like, figuring out why you
around
feel...
people. At least that's at least why when I go out. That's probably the number one reason.
How about... do a question about dating. How do you navigate going on dates in a new city, meeting new people?
I don't go on dates. I think dating is at the back of my mind right now. It's not a priority at all to me. I think I was very dependent on getting validation from my significant other. I was very insecure. I still am insecure, but a lot of my confidence came from my partner. Yeah, so now it's just a different navigation of getting my confidence from myself.
Okay, so the camera died, so we have to wrap this up on the iPhone, but finish your thought and then we can close it out.
I'm kind of experiencing this renaissance of getting confidence from myself and myself only rather than other people. And getting confidence from my own accomplishments and my own... If anything, I don't really get confidence from my looks anymore. It's more what knowledge I acquire and what new... Yeah, just more knowledge that I'm acquiring and more skills and more abilities. It's more of a... Yeah. I'm not necessarily, I don't really care about my looks as much. I think definitely in this past year, I've been transitioning away from the male gaze. Good. Because I think I definitely wanted to, especially being a lesbian, I think I wanted to subscribe to what, like, men thought was attractive, so that in a way, it was so that in a way, I thought it would make people accept me more for being attractive to them. But now I'm just kind of making my own sense of style and to what I think is attractive.
Answer. I love that. I feel like I'm on a similar journey where I used to base a lot of my confidence in my body, and I would work out really in a specific way and eat specific foods. That's how my eating disorder kind of stemmed, in order to make my body look how I thought it needed to look. Trying to achieve the ideal body type that's really not attainable, and I'm definitely shying away from that and trying to, same thing, like, have my confidence come from what I've done and who I am as a person, and not as my body, and trying to be my authentic self. Because I listened to this podcast the other day, and it said, like, if you're basing all of your worth on your looks and your body, but you're trying to make your looks and your body different than what you want them to look like, or if you're just trying to conform them in a certain way, then that's not authentic at all, because you're trying to make them different than how they naturally are.
Like, for me, at least, I have cultivated my image. It's just come naturally to me. Like, if I see something, I get my inspiration from everywhere. Like, if I see something, I'm like, oh, I'll try that. Or
instead of
just something, basing how I dress and, like, how I do my hair and makeup, I base it on what I like rather than what I think others will like.
Thank you guys so much for watching. If you want to follow Jessie, I'll leave her Instagram down below. Feel free to DM her. I'm sure she'd be more than happy to answer any questions about anything that she touched on today, whether you're moving to New York, whether you're wanting to cut your hair. She's an open book. Show the hair.
Oh, I really need a haircut. I kind of look like a muffin.
I remember when...
I used to